What's up, folks? I hope that you're doing well and that you're ready to go. Seems like some of you guys are. And I'm going to fix a couple of things around me because, I didn't have, I was prepared and then not so prepared. Been doing a lot of talking, obviously, because of the earlier stream with Sacco for the Liverpool game. And then I was on with Doug from Pine Creek. That was a fun conversation. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And I hope that people enjoyed that as well. And then we're going to have a conversation here for a little bit. And I will head on out to go my merry way, go to my Bible study, enjoy time with my friends. And what else? Yep. Not going to see you guys tomorrow. I'm not going to stream tomorrow because I'm traveling. I will be gone Friday, I think at 1. If I have time tomorrow, I'll stream really early. Maybe like 9 or something like that. I got a wardrobe change too as well. It's kind of chilly in here, so I put on a sweater. Got rid of my Liverpool jersey. I told Doug I got stuff to do, so that's why I couldn't stay. And what else? Yeah, so I'll be gone till Sunday. Here, the next week you gotta kind of keep up with the community tag. I might post some videos and shorts. Make sure you are in our Discord group to know what's going on because I'm traveling next week. So tomorrow I'm going somewhere. I'll be gone till Sunday. I come back Sunday, Monday morning. I fly out and I'll be gone till Saturday. And I'm hoping I can stream during the week. It would really depend on the time that's available to me. I'm guessing Tuesday to Thursday is going to be very, very difficult to stream. I'm going to take my camera with me. I'm going to take some mics. I'm going to take these guys with me. And if I can get some interviews, if I can invite people over to the place I'm staying at and would sit down and take out my laptop and then do some interviews, I would love to do that. Maybe we might be able to do that. So yeah, just keep up with the Discord group, keep up with the YouTube community posts, and then Instagram. If you're not following me, give me a follow. I'll be posting stories and things of that sort. So I did get a message yesterday from someone that I've been wanting to interview for a long time. And wrote a book. He co-authored a book. That's a really good book. And I'm reading through the book. I'm hoping to finish it. And so we're going to organize a time for us to come together and sit. Well, not like physically. But yeah, for him to join the channel and for me to interview him about the book. So it's going to be a fun interview. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Let's see. Yeah, lots of things, guys. Lots of things going on. So it's going to be a pretty intense week. So how many of you guys were actually in the Pine Creek stream? David Keanu said wardrobe change. So I don't know whether he means that he was watching that stream or that he saw the earlier stream with us about Liverpool. And then David said Pine Creek. Man, this wind is crazy. Pine Creek also said he enjoyed the conversation. Hey, that's good. It's always fun talking to Doug. Yeah, my issue is that quite often I think those of the more atheistic persuasion, for some reason, think that they're more rational thinkers. I'm not talking about Doug when it comes to this. This is why I called Doug in the first place. It's the comments that I see on my channel. They think they're more rational, their view of the Bible is more realistic, and they understand it somehow better than us. And I just really want to push back on that and say, no, I kind of sort of don't know what you're talking about most of the time. I was going to make a video response, and I might still do that. I might make a video where I'm going through the comments on that specific video because it's very interesting to me. We'll see how it does. I mean, when did we post it? Posted it on the 7th. It's been 2 days, and it did well, and then it did a big spike today. Big, huge spike. So it's over 6,000. Got us 10 new subscribers. This video got us 10 new subscribers, which means that it's pushed our subscriber count over 4,900. We are at 4,909 subscriber-wise. And hey, guys, about 91 to go. The question is, can we get 90, 91 more subscribers in what we have for the rest of November and in all of December? That's the question to ask. Now, before you say yes immediately to that, the last 28 days, we've gotten 61 new subscribers. Now, if I were to take this and say, custom, let's do October 1st. Let's actually do all of August. No, sorry, not August. If we were to do all of September and all of October. Well, okay. 2 months got us 157 new subscribers. So it's very much doable that by January 1st, by December 31st, we have a New Year's party and we celebrate 5K in subscriber count. That's a real possibility, folks. Okay. So excited, very, very excited for that. We were both on at Pine Creek. Wow, David, I didn't know you were on. That is really cool. I think what I'm going to do is take that stream from Doug, and he might probably do the same thing. I think it was a good enough conversation for me to take it, edit it, to cut it out, and then post it as a shorter clip in conversation with Doug. I enjoyed it. I got to catch my breath a little bit here. I drink. I'm trying to boost up my immune system by drinking emergency. Trying to connect my phone to my Okay, we are connected. Anybody wants to jump on to... Oh, by the way, Doug is very familiar with Mr. Sean Kelly as well. Well, that's cool. Look, So I've typically told you guys that I try not to, what Jerome calls, farm videos. But I think Sean's questions were of a sincere nature. And so I posted. That was not in any way to demean Sean or to prove him like I got him and, whatever, this, that. There was no getting there. It was just clarifying things as to how we look at the Bible. And I liked it enough. And I think it was educational enough and fit the mold of our channel for me to post it. But so I posted it. So Sean should know that, hey, 6,000 people have heard his really cool accent. Excuse me, guys. I've been sitting in front of a computer. Here's a crazy thing. I did a stream. We did very obviously did the stream and then the soccer stream. And then I had to jump into a meeting right afterwards, and I did a meeting for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then I did Doug's conversation, and then now we're here. So I've been staring at a computer since 9:30, just in front of a screen and talking. So Jerome said, I'm really not going to be able to work on the doc today. Interesting. Welcome, Jerome. I haven't even been able to reflect on the idea whether Liverpool were hard done by that loss and that handball call, which like I can see why it was called, but also bounces on his chest, goes. My buddy said that the important question to ask is whether it helped him control the ball, and he said yes, it did. But it was tough. I mean, again, like I said on the stream, I was okay with them losing. But I wasn't okay losing that way. It'll be interesting to see what Jurgen Klopp has said after that. Jerome, you change your screen name to distance yourself from Mrs. Robinson. Look at that. Sean's in the house. What's up, Sean? How you doing, man? Talking about you. Okay, so again, guys, the Discord is open. If you guys have questions of a biblical nature, like if you want to look at biblical texts, I'm opening my Bible software right now. I know somebody asked me in one of the comments, said, hey, what was the software that you're using? The software that we use here is Logos Bible Software. We did a little promotional partnership with them a little bit of time ago, and hopefully we'll do some stuff in the future as well. I hadn't even checked my text, man. I looked at my text and it was like a bunch of people that texted me. Baby back ribs. Oh, man. No food conversations right now, guys. This one dude went on like a rampage, I think, on commenting. Let me see. Here's a thing that we should consider as a society. I don't care if you're a Christian or not when it comes to this. Ask yourself whether you are a mature person or not. And how you being on the internet or how your maturity impacts your conduct on the internet and the sort of stuff you say to people. Like this gentleman here. Should I show? I'm not going to show his picture. I won't say his name, but he's in the comments section. I don't know. It's just he commented a bunch of stuff. One of the comments is, apparently all the bad stuff is man's fault, but what I find odds is why we are able to fix God's punishments. Polio, measles, mumps, smallpox, hepatitis, AIDS. Who said those are God's punishments? No one. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say no one. I'm sure there's someone out there who says it is. But in Christian theology, that's not necessarily seen as God's punishment. It's seen as the result of a fallen world in which these things happen. The list is quite long, and you can even include dentistry and fractures. Is God losing his touch? Give me a syringe, I can cure thousands of people of malaria, while God can maybe, perhaps, if you're lucky, cure one cancer patient. And instead of healing one leper, why not cure leprosy? And I should add, that comment was on the stream with Pisabi. Like just understanding kind of where you are and what you're commenting under what. Like, did you just find the video of me? Because there's no way you watched, like, I have an intro channel, like my intro video. 55 minutes ago, 53 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago, this individual commented on 3 different videos. It's a good example. Like, you're clearly not watching these, right? Like, you probably watched the intro video because that's like, I don't know, 2 minutes long or something. And then just like jump to the next video and put a paragraph in there, and jump to the next video and put a longer paragraph there. Don't be like this guy. Hit that like button, folks. There's 13 of you guys in here, and we have only 4 people who've hit the like button. Is the poll not telling you to hit the like button? Come on now. Come on, guys. What's going on here? Are you not friends of mine? Okie dokie. It's like I don't even want to respond to this guy because of these sorts of stuff. I'm not. I'm just going to give him a thumbs down. Thumbs down. What did he write on my intro video? Just a quick reminder that the First Amendment conflicts with the First Commandment. What does that have to do? You know what? I don't usually remove comments, but remove. Remove. If he's got issues, hey dude, if you got issues, the guy whose comments I'm removing, talk to me. But it doesn't seem to me that you watch my videos. It just seems to me that you just go on my videos and just write stuff because, I don't know, you have nowhere else to express your thoughts. So, delete it. Hey, are you up for a video review? If so, would you like to request one by JP Uncut titled, I'm a Christian and I struggle with lust. Let me see. I don't know who this individual is, by the way. I don't know who JP Uncut is. Or do I? I'm not sure. I don't think I do. I might have met him before, but okay, it's a 10-minute video. We'll speed it up. Yeah, man, we'll look at this. Okay. So he's a street preacher. That might be where I've heard him. Okay, let's see what this brother has to say.
Time ago when a brother in Christ asked me and said, JP, do you struggle watching pornography? Yeah, we're going to say pornography because I don't want my channel to get flagged. So anyways, he asked me that question and I said, brother, this world is pornography. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you walk down the street and all you see is pornography. Naked women all over the place. You get on Twitter. What do you see? Soon as you open the app, even if you don't follow said things, naked women. Go on Facebook, naked women. Instagram, naked women. Heck, you turn on your PS5 and play certain games, and you're going to see naked women in those games. My father didn't have the problem of bumping into naked women while playing Super Mario. I mean, yeah, there was a princess, but she was fully clothed. You see, when it comes to lust is a very tricky topic, especially when it...
Can somebody inform me here? I'm going to ask a number of questions. Can I know how old this friend is? Somebody, because he said, when he said my father played Mario and he didn't have to deal with that, I kind of like, okay, I want to know. And you don't have to give me an exact age. I go between 22 and 25, between 35 and 40. I don't know. Someone tell me his age. He's 31. Okay.
It comes to 2023, because it seems like the odds are against you. So many young men hit me up all the time saying, yo, JP, what's the cure to fixing this lust issue? And very often I say, when you find out, you let me know. Because the reality is that I talk to people that are married men. And they say that once you get married, the issue gets a little bit easier because you can do your thing. You feel me? But the reality is that battle's always going to be there. And then you have people that say, oh, it's just demons. Let's get rid of the demons. And to those people that say that it's a demon, I say, you can't cast out the flesh. The flesh is always going to be there, and the flesh wants what the flesh wants. So then, what the heck is the solution to this problem? Before we get there, let me tell you guys what's not a solution and can make things much worse. Past experiences. A lot of times you have Christians that say they want to live their lives. They're young. Let me mess around with this girl. Let me mess around with that girl.
Smart.
Let me get to the line as much as possible without crossing it, and something ends up happening. A lot of times you don't get the girl pregnant. Maybe you end up breaking things off and you're not really hurt. But there's going to come a time where you're going to really want to serve the Lord. You're going to want to really get serious with God. And those thoughts of those past experiences are going to kill you. While you're eating popcorn, you'll get random flashes. When you're walking your dog, you'll get random flashes. What you think you escaped, you didn't actually escape. It's going to come back to haunt you. And that's the reality of things. A lot of people think they can do things and get away with it. Sometimes they feel like they did. You didn't get anybody pregnant. You didn't get any kind of STDs or AIDS or whatever the heck, HIV. You didn't get any of that. But guess what? Every night when you go to sleep, or anytime you go play a sport, you're going to get one of those flashes. And that's going to cause you to lust. It's going to cause you to fall into temptation. So before you respond to that Snapchat or that Instagram DM, know this. You may get away with it. She may send you pictures. You'll lust to those pictures. And then you're done. Only for 2 years later, when you're really trying to commit yourself to God, all of those flashes, all of them, come playing like a movie. There are times when I'm at church.
Hey, that's wise. That's seriously wise. Okay? Just know what, if you're young, well, not just if you're young, but predominantly if you're younger, know what you're intaking into your life and the kind of outlooks and outcomes those things will have.
Minding my own business, and I get flashes. I'm playing basketball. I get flashes. I hear guys talking about their experiences with their girls, and I'm just minding my business trying to do what I got to do, and I get flashes. These flashes will kill you. The heck with pornography. Those flashes alone. So if you're a Christian and you're sexting, sending snaps, sending pictures, receiving pictures, or whatever the case may be, know that at some point you're going to pay a price. Now, this all ties in with the first thing that I said. Remember when I said the world is pornography? Well, if you have a bunch of flashes all the time, how are you supposed to fight when everything in this world is essentially pornography? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, video games, everything. Everything has some element of pornography. Everything. So you add your past experiences and your flashes, and you're going to be in for a very tough battle. And my friends, I am in that battle. The Bible says that you should keep yourself pure, and it says it for a reason. You see, if you keep yourself pure and you wait for marriage completely, reality is you're not going to have half the battles that most people have, because you're not going to deal with those things that somebody like myself and others have to deal with. And believe me, I don't have it too bad compared to others. There are people that all they did was sleep around, and now they're paying the consequences for that. They're Christian now, but they're paying consequences. It gets really, really hard when you practice those lifestyles. I did certain things, but I didn't go all the way. Nevertheless, even the little that I did, I have to pay for every single day. Now, the worst part about these things is your dreams. Just when you think you escaped, and I'm not doing this anymore, you get hit with these dreams, these sexual, crazy dreams. There were times where I've had dreams, sexual dreams, where when I've woken up, I thought it was real life. I was like, man, what did I do? I can't believe I did this. But it was a dream all along. A very, very graphic dream. You see, these are the consequences of my actions. I wish I would have kept it pure 100%, but I didn't. And so, friends, I give you this warning. Know that whatever you're doing today, you're going to have to pay for later. Now that we've talked about all of the effects of past experiences with actually participating in things with another individual, such as making out, having sex, sending DMs, let's talk about pornography, and I'm not going to get too into it. Long story short, you should know the side effects of watching corn. And by corn, I mean with the P in front. I don't want to get flagged. So pornography, you should know the effects. That kills you, gives you depression, and I'm going to make a video on depression. But it gives you depression, kills your confidence, destroys your whole outlook in life. Who wants to serve God when you're struggling with pornography? Like the pornography you would see on your phone. Who wants to? You're so low, can't even pray. You walk around condemned all the time. So there are ways to stop all of these things, and we're going to get into it in a bit. But with things considered, know that if you're a Christian and you're participating in these things, you're going to pay later. Laugh now, cry later kind of thing. These things kill your psyche. And one day when you do get married, you're going to have so much baggage that I'm going to feel sorry for your potential wife. So now it's time to get into the practicalities and the spirituality of things. First things first, the book of Romans is very clear. You're no longer a slave to sin, which means that these things that you're struggling with, you don't have to succumb to. In other words, through the power of the Holy Spirit, you can say no. Now, how can you actually flow through the Holy Spirit if you don't read your word and you don't pray and you don't fast? These are components. And if you're not praying, reading the Bible, and fasting, it's going to be real tough to say no. So that's number one. Number two, in the side of practicalities, I would have to say an accountability partner that's a Christian. Someone that can pray for you. Delete the Instagram. Or at the very least, get off it at 11 o'clock, 12 a.m., 1 a.m. You shouldn't be on Instagram. And if you are, get away from the Explore page. Now, to conclude this video, I wanted to say, make sure to drop a like. And in addition to that, write in the comment section what things help you overcome the battle of lust. In the description box of this video, I added a playlist of videos that can help you overcome your lust. So check it out. God bless you.
Okay. Good video. I think the brother didn't say anything that is incorrect. One of the things I would say is I think Christians quite often oversimplify how to overcome these things. And I think immediately, like, it comes to, like, are you reading the Bible? Are you praying? Are you going to church or something like that? And it's like, well, yes, you could be doing all of those things and still be struggling. And partly because we don't have a good theology built on spiritual formation, and we don't have a good theology built on forming proper habits. And so we kind of ignore that part. We think it's not spiritual. Like, look, the reason why a lot of people struggle with these things, or I would just say anything in general that's a vice. And this is true of the human condition, not just Christians. Most of the time we are struggling with vices is because we've habituated them. What does that mean? That means they've become habits in our lives. So let's take eating, for example. Okay. I don't know if you realize I've put on some weight. Today I found out that there's like a scientific reason as to why guys put on weight when their wives are pregnant. It's very interesting. And it has nothing to do with they're eating a lot and therefore you're eating a lot, which is a common answer I've heard. But it has to do with your body preparing itself, I guess, to have sleepless nights and stuff like that. Whatever. Regardless. So eating. Suppose that you have a habit where you eat at 11:30 at nights. Okay. You wake up 11 o'clock and by 11:30 you're like, oh man, I'm really hungry. You go and open up the fridge and eat. And then so you do that habitually, and one of the things you're going to realize is that you start getting hungry at 11:30, even if you've had 3 meals. Your body goes, I want this. And then it not only do I want this, but it's also at that time you want that. And if you notice in regards to the subject that we're speaking about here, if you've been habitually doing it, you're probably craving it at a certain time of the day and under certain circumstances, let's put it that way. And so you want to break those habits. You want to break those habits. And there's various ways you can break those habits. He mentioned a couple of them. Deleting apps, accountability partners. Those things are always towards an end, okay? Is your wife pregnant? Yes, she is. My wife is pregnant. Not only is she pregnant, she's very pregnant. But by very pregnant, we mean baby's going to come in very early January. So, yeah, November is what we're not really midway through November, but I'm gone all of next week. So for me, I'm already at the end of next week, sort of in my mind in weird ways. And yeah, guys, you guys are going to get to see me. I think most of you guys have not seen me. Not most of you guys. I don't think any of you guys have really seen me being a brand new dad. And you're probably going to see me, come into these broadcasts with a very, very tired look at times. Jason, what's up, brother? You are in the Discord chat. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I got kids in here, so they're just chatting away.
Okay.
Hey, I have a question, but I'm going to bring it up later when I get home.
Okay.
I'm just driving home right now.
Cool. Again, guys, the Discord chat is open. It's working. You guys are more than welcome to jump into it and have a conversation. Yeah. But so watch your habits. Watch what you're doing, when, why. Find out the answers to those questions. It's not just, for me, it's not just enough to say, well, it's in the flesh, or, oh, it's out there. One of the things I was going to react a bit stronger, I think, to the initial statement about like we struggle with stuff that other people historically haven't struggled with, like Christians. There's nothing new under the sun, is what I would say. That people have had this struggle specifically, and throughout history, it's always been around in various ways. It's just it's a different format of it nowadays.
Jerome asked a question about Jesus in John chapter 11, I think.
Yeah.
He's trying to get your attention about.
Okay, thank you. Let me open that. So this is the Lazarus story. So the question was, specifically speaking, this might be interpreted as some sort of troll question, but why was Jesus crying halfway through John 11? My primary thought is just revive him, but I guess not. Okay. Okay, so here's John 11. It says, now a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was Mary who anointed the Lord with anointment and wiped his feet with her hair. So there's context given to us of what we're talking about. Whose brother Lazarus was ill. So the sister sent to him, essentially they sent a message, Lord, he whom you love is ill. But when Jesus heard this, he said, the illness does not lead to death. This illness does not lead to death. It is for the glory of God, so the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now, let's move on to the section that he wants to talk about. Jesus waits a couple of days and then gets up and goes there. Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep. Let's go. Where does he start crying? He gets there. Okay. So Jesus gets there and he says, he has sort of a conversation, says, your brother will rise again. This is a very interesting dialogue here. So Jesus says, your brother will rise again. Immediately, Martha interprets this as to some kind of a theological truth, right? I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. This is also internally evidence that there is an expectation of a resurrection, but not before the end. Okay. Now, what happens to Lazarus is we would distinguish in regards to resurrection because Lazarus comes back from the dead, but he dies again. He doesn't live forevermore. And then Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, shall yet live, and everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is coming into the world. Here we are. When she had said this, she went and called her sister Mary, saying in private, the teacher is here and calling for you. And when she heard it, she rose quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha had met him, where the Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw Mary rise quickly and go, so everybody follows her. Now when Mary had come, it says to Jesus, if you were here, he essentially wouldn't have died. So there's the reason why I'm reading all these things, Jerome, predominantly, is because there's a context. There's conversations that are being had. There is individuals crying and mourning and all that stuff. Now, when Mary had come where Jesus was, she fell at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. You have to realize that people are mourning. And again, this is a culture where, mourning looks a certain way. Pretty sure you've seen very similar things. And when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come with her also weeping, he also was deeply moved. So it tells us that Jesus is deeply moved, right? Gets emotional, indignant, partly because of him seeing what's happening to his sister and all the people who are in pain over the death of Lazarus. So he's deeply moved and his spirit is greatly troubled, it says. He's bothered. He's emotional. And he said, where have you laid him? They said, Lord, come and see. And then it says, Jesus wept. Considering the situation, I think, considering the context, the literary context here, Jesus is crying because everybody else is crying. Jesus is crying because of the pain that other people are experiencing. He loves these people. He cares for these people. Lazarus' death has been a cause of great pain and emotional distress for these people, and Jesus cares for them. And Jesus weeps because of this. Immediately, that's what I would say the answer to your question is, Jerome. Let me know if you have a backup to that. Okay. So again, I think this is a good observation. I think Saad says that he still moved regardless of the action that he was going to perform. Correct. Regardless of the action he was going to perform. He's still bothered and troubled because there's individuals that are in pain, in legitimate pain. So like, I don't know, like if I were to say I'm a doctor and suppose I'm a doctor and then a bunch of people are brought into my hospital. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Suppose I'm a doctor and a 2-year-old is brought into my hospital and the 2-year-old is in a considerable amount of pain because, I don't know, they fell down and broke an arm and a leg. And then seeing the pain of the 2-year-old and then seeing the pain that the parents are going through and knowing like I can heal the issue that this kid has. But I could be emotionally bothered and distraught and even cry considering seeing, say that the kid has a younger brother who's animated and crying and stuff like that. So there's nothing wrong in regards to weeping and feeling in the moment and crying with people, even knowing that you're going to fix the situation. Okay. Hey man, I haven't been here in a long time. Welcome back. You still remember me? Yes. I worked as a ministry assistant this summer for an Alliance church. Well, great. I'm getting baptized soon also. Wow, awesome, man. Good to hear. Welcome. You're still a mod. Nothing's changed. Are we allowed to call in or is it selective? No, if you're in the Discord, you're more than welcome to jump into the conversation on Discord. It's up and running. Hey, look at that. Askia Jones, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Great conversation. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you as well. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the support. Folks, anybody wants to drop super chats, you're more than welcome to do so. We'd appreciate that. But what I would also tell you guys is if you want to jump on Patreon and become a monthly patron, appreciate it. I think my mods will drop the link to Patreon as well. So just taking the opportunity to pump that up a little bit. After next week, we're going to resume our Ecclesiastes Bible studies. So make sure you jump on there. You're ready to go. If you want to join us for Bible studies through the book of Ecclesiastes, you gotta be a patron for at least $5 to be a part of those. So patreon.com/Apologia Center. Has anybody seen The Pope's Exorcist? This is the second time I'm being asked this question the last like 3-4 days. Nope, haven't seen it. Well thought out as always. I hear that. Thank you. So, okay, it seems to me that there's a number of people in here who do not know that my wife is pregnant with our 4th child. I think I speak about it quite a bit. Maybe I've forgotten to tell you guys. I appreciate you guys saying, hey, congrats. Thank you. Thank you very much. God's been good to us. We have 3 children. We have 2 boys and a girl. And then we're having another girl. So the order of that will be boy, girl, boy, girl. So this is our 4th child. We have not had a baby in the home for about 5 years, or if you want to consider 4 years or something like that. So we're both going to get used to sleepless nights, diaper changes, carrying. And we like finally got our kids out of car seats and they're in like boosters and stuff like now. Now we got to have like car seats and all that stuff in. So quite a bit of changes in that. Little kids sleeping in our room. How about that? Okay, we have the passage open. Okay, so while you have the passage open, why do the Jews think that the Romans would come after them if people start believing that Jesus is saying about himself? Okay, so let's read more. So Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. Take the stone away, so on and so forth. This is insane what Jesus is saying here. Give me a second. He says, Father, thank you. You have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this on account of the people standing around, that they believe that you sent me. When he had said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The man who had died came out, his hands and feet with bound stripes, so on and so forth, his face is him. And Jesus says, unbind him. Many of the Jews, therefore, who had come with Mary and had seen what he did, believed in him. But some, and I want to sneeze. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them that Jesus had done. So the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered at the council and said, what are we to do? For this man performs many signs. So they're acknowledging the signs that Jesus is performing. If we let him go like this, everyone will believe him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation. Because, Jerome, pay very close attention to what I'm about to say, and for the rest as well. The claim that Jesus is the Messiah is essentially a claim of being the King of Israel. Messiah means anointed one. Messiah is a kingly title. This is interchangeably used with the Son of David, the Messiah, the Christ, the Son of David, the Messiah, the Son of David, Christos, Messiah, Son of David, anointed one, King. And what they're afraid of is if Jesus continues making these claims that he is the anointed one that is to come, he is the Messiah that is to come, the Romans are going to see this as a political revolt, that he's trying to raise up some kind of an army to fight against them, and so therefore they're afraid of that. And if people start believing him, they're going to say he's our king. And so therefore that's what the fear is there. So that's that. Jerome. Do any of your kids practice martial arts? No, none of my kids practice martial arts. My daughter does Armenian kind of traditional dancing, and then both of my boys play soccer. But one of these days, I might feel motivated to take my youngest son to do some martial arts. Like, so I have a buddy who was like national judo champion and stuff like that, UFC fighter. Maybe we'll have him for an interview on the channel one of these days to speak about what like a Christian, and well, he wasn't a Christian when he was in that world, but kind of share his testimony and share with you guys. But he, yeah, his kids are in there, and he likes that stuff. So I might put him in there. He's more aggressive in that sense, and enjoys fighting and stuff like that. My youngest, that is. Righteous Through Christ says, "Hey Art, do you and your wife have an Amazon wish list for the baby that you would like for us to see and hopefully contribute towards?" Wow. I feel humbled. That's a really good question. I have no idea. I'd have to ask my wife whether, even if she had it, I'd have to ask her whether she'd be comfortable with me sharing that with you guys. Nope. Yeah, I don't think like we have a good amount of stuff. Excuse me. Obviously, because we've had kids before and stuff, and then we have friends who've just had kids. But I appreciate this, man. I haven't really processed this kind of information, but I'll see if there's anything my wife wants. We'll add it to a wish list, and I'll share it with you guys if anybody wants to show that kind of love towards us. Thank you. Really appreciate it. That's an interesting idea. Both of your sons
Don't you have like
practice jujitsu. It's hugely beneficial. Interesting. My voice is doing weird stuff. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, don't you have like a wish list for books? I'll get you something off that.
Yeah, so I do have a wish list that is public, and it's got a bunch of books in there that people have. Yeah, people haven't bought me books through that, so I don't know how many books we have in here. So that's in the description box.
I'm ready for my question. Unless you have any other YouTube comment questions.
Hang on, let me read through a couple of these, and then we'll get to that. Okay. On Fire for Jesus says, I did with Chuck Norris, Sensei. My father owned a gym and trained people. Wow. That's cool. Hey, Art, you think ministers should have a formal education before becoming full-time ministers? So I think formal education is extremely important. I've seen the benefits of it in my life. Is it necessary? Not really. Sometimes it's not even an option in some countries. Let me put it that way. There's a lot of countries where you can't even get a full-time education in ministry. And so I see it as a great benefit that we get to have. I don't see it as something that hurts us in any way. And the other thing I would say is Jesus essentially taught his disciples. They called him rabbi, which means teacher. And they spent 3 years with him. That's essentially a college education. Almost every day they lived with him. So they got like a full immersion into the teachings of Jesus. So I would say, yes, it's good for them to go get it if the opportunity is there. Centennial Apologetics, what's going on? Welcome. Hey, thank you guys for the support and love. Jason, go for it, man. I should say, hit the like button, folks. We got 20 some odd people in here and only 13 likes.
Oh, let me hit the like button real quick.
What was that?
Forgot to do that.
Oh, you haven't hit the like button.
I forgot.
Hit the like button.
There you go. I got you.
Thanks.
You're 12 now.
Well, it's 14 now, so.
Oh, sweet.
Go for it, brother.
And excuse the background noise. My kids are around. But they're just running around playing. So my question is, like, I've been studying because I play soccer with a lot of Muslims, and I've been really trying to I've gotten really close with one of them. Like, me and him, we have great conversations. And I'm kind of trying to do something like David Wood when he did it with Nabil Qureshi, and like really form a bond and friendship with them, and at the same time say, hey, we're going to find the truth. And I know that I'm almost certain I'm going to come out on top. So basically, I'm trying to do my own research, but also I thought I'd probably ask you because you probably know a little bit more than me. I'm still trying to study certain areas of Islam, but I didn't understand completely because I had to first purchase my own Quran and everything. But why Ishmael was like the Ishmael and Isaac? That was like a dividing point where I think Islam started, is what I've been told, and from what I understood. And then I believe I was reading it the other day in Genesis chapter 28 or 29, Esau, his dad, Isaac, and his mom, Rebecca, were upset because Esau had already married two Canaanite women, and then he overheard them, so he decided to go and marry a daughter of Ishmael. And so Esau also, I've heard, is part of like the beginning of Islam. So I guess I don't really know the history and the background. I'm going to do some more research, but I try to get some information.
Yeah, so I think you're confusing a couple of things. One of them is you're confusing what the Islamic narrative is as to the origins of the Arabic people versus religion. So as far as I know, the Islamic narrative of the origins of the Arabs is that they're descendants of Ishmael. That has nothing to do with Islam. That just has to do with Arabs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay, Islam did not start with Ishmael. I know that they might phrase it like that because notice the way I phrased it. It's the Islamic narrative of the origins of the Arabs. So they try to do this thing where they're like, hey, we have this lineage that comes through a son of Abraham, and so we're Abrahamic and so on and so forth. That's besides the point. Like, that has nothing to do, even if you are physically descendant from him, doesn't mean one of his descendants named Muhammad, let's just say, gets up and says, hey, I had revelations and this is what it's saying. And it's like, yeah, but he could lie. Right? Like, so that has nothing to do with kind of what's going on. But don't confuse kind of when Islam starts. Islam starts in the 600s with Muhammad. As a religion. I mean, that's even according to Muslims, that's when Islam starts in the way it's formulated, because you'll hear a lot of Muslims say things like, well, God revealed himself in the Old Testament to the Jews. In the New Testament, he revealed himself through Jesus to the Christians, and all that stuff has been corrupted and changed and so on and so forth. That's why God had to reveal himself through Muhammad. So but in the way some of these conversations go, they might try to be legitimizing Islamic claims by claiming that, hey, look, we're coming from Abraham as well, or making claims like, quite often I hear Muslims say things like, hey, Jesus was a Muslim because he submitted himself to God. And that's a word fallacy. That's a false equivocation. Essentially, you're using the word Islam or Muslim, one who submits, and then you're applying it to Jesus who's submitting and then saying, oh, he was a Muslim. It's like, that's just not the way proper thinking happens. But it's a rhetorical device that I've used quite a bit of Muslims use. So, David said, Arthur, refresh. I have 25 on my end. Well, I'm still seeing 18 on my end. So,
Always David's computer is weird.
David's very interesting because sometimes he sees that our streams has 30,000 people in it. So, it's 18 on my end. I don't know why you're seeing weird numbers of my stream, David.
Isn't Ishmael and Isaac one of the major prophets in Islam?
Yeah, well, the thing is that like the way we consider prophets and the people we call prophets in the Bible are very different than the way they do it. Yeah, so they call so like Adam is a prophet to them. And Abraham is a prophet. And so, yes, I mean, it would make sense that they would claim that Isaac, I'm not sure whether they say Isaac is, but it would make sense that they would say Isaac and Ishmael are.
Interesting. Thank you for that, though. I really clarifies a lot of things up because I think if I just Google it, I'm going to get a lot of different answers.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I think again, even if Ishmael is the ancestor of all the Arabs, there have been many Arabs throughout history, and even in this day, who are Christians and have been Christians. So, and then what? I feel like it's a pointless argument. Like, I don't know. Like, is there some kind of a expectation that if you're an Arab, you have to be a Muslim? Yeah, I hope that's not the way we even think in the West, by the way. That, oh, look, and I've heard a lot of people, not a lot maybe, I've heard a number of people think like that, where they go, oh, like even consider the Palestine kind of Israel conflict. When they think Palestinian, they immediately think Muslim. They might sometimes even think Hamas immediately. Those are very different things. That's like when you think American, you immediately think Democrat or Republican. You see the red pill community like talking about the West like this, or talking about Western Christianity like this, where they go, oh, you're a Christian in the West, so therefore immediately like you're a liberal. Like, no, that's not the case. We've been at this for a very long time. So please don't do that to people. There's Christians, there are Palestinian Christians who can trace their Christian ancestry back 2,000 years.
Just talk to them and see where they're at.
Yeah, like, and again, there's Iraqi Christians, there's Chaldean Christians, there are Christians from Egypt, Egyptian Christians, Copts. I hope that people don't just immediately go, oh yeah, Middle East must be Muslim. That's just very, very shallow way of thinking. Did Rob convert? Babyback Rip says, did Rob convert to Christianity? I remember him on Doug's like a year and a half ago. I don't know who Doug is. Sorry, I don't know who Rob is. Who are we talking about? Who's Rob that was supposed to convert? I don't see a Rob in here. Help me out unless I got some names wrong. Been out of the YouTube scene for a while. Well, welcome back. Jerome says, I have another question, very unrelated. Go for it, Jerome. Shoot away. I noticed that issue is a carryover from the last stream you've watched. You'll have to close the app completely and reopen it to refresh the number for Apple products at least. Yeah, I have like 3-4 different indicators in front of me. Like I have the software I'm using. I was running the stream, refresh the stream, and then also the YouTube stream that gives me unless this comment is only for David. It shows 18 for me. We got 21 people in here. Rob was already a Christian. That question doesn't make sense. Okay. All over Africa and a huge part of Europe is dominated by Muslim religions. Well, like if you mean there's a lot of Muslims in those areas, yeah, correct. But that's like saying all over Europe and all over, these other countries, there's a lot of Christians, like South America or something like that. Yeah, correct. There's more Christians in China than there are people in the United States. And then what? So there's a lot of Christians in Africa. There have been a lot of Christians historically in Africa. Stretching a little bit.
Had something else. I had another question, but it's more from a friend who was asking me, and I tried to explain it to him. What was it about? I know it was about the Trinity. Oh, now I remember it.
So hang on to your question. Let me answer Jerome's question, and we'll go. Okay.
Yeah,
Jerome
answer Jerome's
says,
question.
"Is Jesus the messenger in John 13?" I'm rather sure that I know who the master and servant is supposed to be. Okay. 13. Let's see. I don't know what the verse you're referring to specifically, so I don't want to read the whole thing, maybe. But okay. So there's the Passover. Jesus knew his hour had come, so on and so forth. During supper, the devil had already put in the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Okay, so he washes their feet. He says, "Do you understand what I have done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet." He's setting an example, right? "For I have given an example," there it is. You don't need my commentary on that. "That also you should do as well. Truly, truly I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master." So again, the question we're talking about here is, so he means this generally, that a servant is not greater than his master, nor a messenger greater than the one who sent him. So this is the way you're going to understand this text. Okay? Jerome, this is a parallel passage. He's repeating himself because this was common to the way that Jewish people made points and wrote and spoke. So here's the way it goes. A servant is not greater than his master, nor a messenger greater than the one who sent him. So here, the messenger is the servant, and the master is the one who sent and who sent him. This is not an analogy in the sense of like it's not a parable or anything like that he's giving, but what he's saying is a general proverb that a servant is not greater than his master, and the servant and the messenger are the same, and the one who sent him and the master are the same. Okay. And he's making a point essentially here that you guys are my servants. You guys are my messengers. Because he's going to send them out. And I, as your teacher and master, have washed your feet as an example for you to be humble before other people. So you're not greater than I am, is what he's trying to say. and you're to act in these ways. And he goes on to say, if you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. I'm not speaking of all of you, and then he goes on to speak about Judas, who's going to betray him and all that stuff. But that's just a general proverb statement to communicate the point. That Jesus is the master who's humbled himself before them, and that they as servants are not to be arrogant before other people, but they're to humble themselves before other people. Okay, so David says, Arthur, can you explain James 4:4? Jason, hang on to the Trinity question because that might take a little longer. But James 4:4. Okay, so James says in chapter 4, verse 4, you adulterous people, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? It's being an enemy of God. Okay. So let's go back and read the passage before we. What causes quarrels and what causes fights among you? So he's writing to Christian and says, hey, why are you guys arguing and fighting? What is the reason for your fights and your quarrels? Is it not this, that your passions are at... So I should rephrase here. What causes quarrels and what causes fights among you? Yeah. So is it not this, that your passions are at war within you? You desire and do not have, so you murder. You covet and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. Well, who are they supposed to be asking? Well, God. He's talking about Christians here that are acting in very ungodly ways. You guys keep having quarrels and fights among you because of your passions who are at war within you, or within you even in the general sense. And so you guys are doing very, very evil things to obtain the things that you guys want. He says, you ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly, to spend it on your passion. So even when you're asking, he says, you're asking it in the wrong way. So therefore, God's not going to give it to you because you're asking in the wrong way. Because the reason isn't to serve and help and take care of your needs, but it's to serve it on your passions. Whatever your by the way, this word for passions there could be translated as pleasure, or I think it could be even translated as lust, but I could be wrong there, right? Hedone. I think that's where the word hedonism comes from. You adulterous people. He means adulterous here, I think, in the sense of like you're worshiping another deity. Like your idolatry in the way that it's used often in the Old Testament. Idolatry is equated with adultery. Do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? And so what he's saying is that you guys are acting worldly. So what is friendship with the world? Well, what he just mentioned, you fight and you quarrel and you murder and you want to be all about your passions and your pleasures. And he's saying that is being worldly or being carnal, and that is at enmity with God. It's being an enemy. Therefore, he says, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself to be an enemy of God. So if you want to think worldly, you want to live worldly, you want to process the information in a worldly manner, by doing so, you're making yourself an enemy of God. And he's writing this to Christians. Do you not know this? And then the passage he quotes afterwards is very, very important because it says, or do you not suppose it is to no purpose that Scripture says he yearns jealously over the Spirit that he has made to dwell within us. Right? So he's saying, like, do you not understand that God is going to take seriously your offenses towards him, your idolatrous offenses towards him, that you want to love him, but you're more in love with the world. You're more in love with the way the world does things. And as a result, you make yourself an enemy of God. This is crazy how the questions that I ask are always ones where I just miss an obvious point 3 to 5 verses before the confusing area. And that's normal, Jerome. That's normal part of, I think, learning to read the Bible or reading the Bible. you become familiar with the text. For the most part, I would just trust your gut instinct. Trust that you know how to read well. And again, I keep telling people this. Reading the Bible is just being a very good reader in general. And then you add on to it all the historical facts, contextual facts, and literary stuff. But if you know how to read well, trust your gut. More often than not, you're going to figure it out. But again, I'm always here for those really confusing stuff. You're doing fine. Whatever it is that you're doing or working on, you're doing just fine. Hey, Jason, go ahead and ask that question because I think after your question, I'm going to be done with the stream. So.
Okay.
Jerome thought that was a good statement. Trust that you know how to read. Well, Jerome, I know you're a smart sort of dude, so you know how to read.
So my last question, and this is more of like how I can talk to my friend about this. I told him I'd kind of ask you this to kind of help him get a little bit more clarity. He was so I was able to convince him that the Trinity is essential to believe in, because at first he had a tough time even thinking about that. He said, "Well, people can still be Christian and not believe in the Trinity." I said, "No, I've been told many times that the Trinity is essential."
Mm-hmm.
But then when it came down to it, he believes that Jesus is an essence of God, and that God the Father is God, and then the Holy Spirit and Jesus are essence of Him. And I might be butchering this. It'd be better if he asked.
Yeah, well, my immediate question would be what he means by essence.
Like that Jesus isn't really necessarily God, but like created by God. And then
to be the essence of God would mean that he's not created. By definition, that's what essence means.
Really?
Yeah. And again, so he might have a misunderstanding of the Orthodox way of explaining the Trinity. So let me pull it up.
I tried to explain to him that I don't even think he's created. Or
Jesus is not created.
God.
Jesus is very, very clearly not created. And people like, I don't know, like how much.
He was clear.
In the beginning was the Logos, and the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God, and the Logos became flesh. Like, how is it that you read John 1?
I read in John 1.
And you think God, that he's created. In the beginning. It makes no sense to me. Let me actually, just give me a second. Let me pull this up. I want to find a good image of this to pull up. I don't want to look.
I did my best, but it got to the point where like you got to look this up yourself, brother.
Yeah, so
I'll ask the question.
So here's a breakdown of this on the screen, okay? So if by that he means that the Spirit is proceeding and the Father is begetting the Son, and begetting is not creation, because the Orthodox explain this, that the begetting that is happening has always been happening. It's an eternal thing. So it's eternal begetting. Okay, so it never had a beginning. And the proceeding has always been happening. It never had a beginning. Now, again, I'll leave that there, and if people are interested in it, they can go and look up the way that this specific doctrine is explained from the ancients, from modern, predominantly Eastern Orthodox folks. You could read the ancient guys and even think about like why it was necessary, or why they found it necessary to explain it this way. That's fine, but most of the people that I talk to that say the sort of stuff that you're saying just have a misunderstanding of this doctrine. Or maybe they're even trying to explain this, but they don't have the right words to explain it and are kind of butchering it. But if Jesus is the essence of the Father, that means they're the same thing. That's what essence means. That's why we use words like essential, meaning if you take it away, it's no longer it. Right.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't. I would say that I mean, essence, I guess, is fine if you put it that way. But I think he was going more like he was created from part of the Father.
Okay, so if he
like
means
that.
he's created,
Say
created, that is not the position that Orthodox Christianity has held to. There's a gentleman that came on my channel a number of I think months ago.
He was like a white guy with the glasses on.
Yes. So he was essentially making that same argument. He was quoting some of the church fathers and stuff like that. What was that?
Oh, my daughter was asking something.
Okay.
I'll clean it up, baby.
But again, if Jesus is created, then he has a beginning. But if he doesn't have a beginning, and you want to use language like created, then don't use language like created. Use language like begetting. Right? That this is an eternal sort of thing.
He thought at least from my understanding, I wish he would call in and ask you, but I believe he believed Jesus had a beginning, and I said, well, then he can't be God, because God is eternal, meaning he had no beginning, no end. He would quote like Alpha and Omega, and I said, no, that's quoting that Alpha and Omega is actually saying that he is eternal, not that he had a beginning.
Correct, because Alpha and Omega is used of Yahweh and is used of the Father all over the place. It just means eternal.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that he was the Alpha at the beginning. So.
Yeah, unless if you look at Revelation, when Jesus is referred to as the beginning and the end, then you think he's going to have an end. If you interpret beginning a certain way, you got to interpret the end a certain way. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I'll have him maybe try to call you sometime. He's on Discord, so he's on your Discord, so
he's on my Discord.
Yeah, he's just a little shy.
Okay, that's fine. Again, it's the way we use certain words, because certain words have certain meanings, man. And more when it comes to this sort of a conversation, it gets we have to be very, very careful with the kind of words we're using, because we could completely mean something else.
Yeah, I told him to deeply think about this, because it's essential that you get this right. If you don't, I mean, like I'm just telling you, everyone tells me that the Trinity is essential, and if you're not getting it right, your faith's gonna. So I kept just explaining that to him, like, because I said at the end of the day we were not getting anywhere, and we weren't arguing. We were just like circling. We just kept circling, and I just said, hey, look, I think you need to do some research, and I think he talked to Pastor about it too.
Okay, well, that's good. My lips are getting all chapped and weird, and so. Too much talking today.
Have a good.
You too, man.
One day we need to watch this Babylon B video with you and Mike Rose.
Okay. One of these days we will. So let me read this final comment, and then we'll go on our sweet way. Jerome said, "You got time for one more question? I promise it's short." Jerome, for you, man. We don't need to, Jerome. Not everything should be public, man. Some things are private and they're fine. What's up, Justin? For you, Jerome, why not? As the Persians say, on my eye. Chash. Where's Pisabi, huh? On the eye, I will do it. Armenians say it too. Except it's longer for us. Waiting for Jerome's question. Here we go. All right, let's go. Acts 14. So in Acts 14, the Greeks mistake Paul and company for Greek gods and try to sacrifice things to them, correct? Jews then come along and win them over. I can guess what that means, but I can't tell. Back to Orthodox is I go to your brother's church now. Nice that you met my brother. So it says here, the gods, the people are claiming this. The gods have come down to us like the likeness of man. Barnabas they called Zeus and Paul Hermes, because he was the chief speaker. And the chief priests of Zeus, whose temple was at the entrance to the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates and wanted to offer sacrifices to the crowds. But when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard of it, sorry, one second. So when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard about it, they tore their garments and rushed out into the crowd. So they're like, hey, crying out, men, why are you doing these things? We also are men of like nature with you. And we bring good news that you should turn from these vain things. So essentially they're like, stop doing this nonsense. Okay. And then he says, in the past generations, he allowed the nations to walk on their own ways, yet he did not leave himself without a witness, so on and so forth. Even with these words, they scarcely restrained the people from offering sacrifices to them. So it's kind of going crazy. But Jews from Antioch and Iconium, but Jews came from Antioch and Iconium, and having persuaded the crowds, they stoned Paul and dragged him out to the city, supposing he was dead. Is that the passage you're referring to? Having persuaded the crowds? To win them over. What translation are you reading? Yeah, I think having persuaded the crowds is the way the ESV puts it, and you might be reading another version where it says win them over, convince them otherwise. Yeah, it does mean to persuade. Correct. I mean, we can look at. So here's the Greek. I'll just put it up on the screen. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Pitheo, I think it means persuade or convince. Again, if you're reading the. Okay, NIV says won them over. Yeah. Yeah, it just means to persuade or to convince them of otherwise. But yeah. Trying to worship them, end up trying to stone them, or not trying to, stoning them. So that's that. Okay, my voice keeps getting cut off, and I don't like that. Well, guys, appreciate it. I think I'm going to try to the best of my abilities to rest over this weekend and not talk so much. I'll probably do some talking, but not to the amount that I do regularly. Hey, if I can stream tomorrow, I will. If I can't, then I won't. That's just the reality. I will not be able to stream Monday. Well, maybe. You know what? Expect a stream on Monday, but I'll be in Texas. but I won't stream at the same time. I'm not sure what time I arrive in Texas, so I'm flying 9 a.m. Probably take 2-3 hours by the time I get there. Maybe I can stream around 2 o'clock. Once I get in settled and I can have everything organized. I am taking my camera, I'm taking a stand, so I'm gonna have a number of things with me. Cool. Take care, guys. God bless you. I'll see you later.